Yet again, Liverpool.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cop Council. How are we all? Hopefully, all of you are having a fantastic day wherever you are around the world. But it is a little bit of a different Cop Council episode, if you want to call it, because it isn't really an episode, tonight. It's a podcast. We are back with the Cop Council podcast. It has taken us 7 months, or me 7 months, to post another episode of a podcast, so apologies, but still, hopefully all of you are having a fantastic day wherever you are around the world. As always, as you can see, I am joined by two very special guests. I think one of them has forgotten that we're going live and was eating his food. Not naming any names.
Not me, that lad.
But as you can see, I am joined by Jack Mack LFC. Jack, how you doing, mate?
I hope everyone is doing safe and well. Everyone, Connor, thank you as always. It's a pleasure to come on, mate. And can't wait for tonight's episode. And be interesting to see how the international football does get on. I'm hoping Scotland do progress for Doug anyway. And obviously, Andy Robbo, but fingers crossed Scotland can qualify.
Yeah, definitely. And as you can see, we are joined by Doug from the Dugout Football channel. And as you can see, he is wearing his Scottish top because currently Scotland are playing, of course, to qualify for the European competitions. Doug, how you doing, mate?
I am as nervous as anything, but no, thank you very much for having me on. And I've got one eye on my iPad, so basically anything that comes up, I'll be looking at it. So I've got updates on my phone as well. But no, thank you very much for having me. And yeah, it's been a long time since you had the Cop Council podcast. I believe that me and Jack were probably on the last episode with you as well. It was discussing the greatest ever Premier League Liverpool team, if I remember rightly.
To be fair, you've nailed that. This is Doug's channel, guys. He's nailed it more than me. I literally found out today when I was looking back at previous podcasts. Yeah, Jack and Doug were the last guests. I believe we were doing the best ever Liverpool Premier League team, I think it was. So that was a fun podcast. If you guys want to go and check it out, then please go and check it out on the channel. It is in a playlist, so please go and check it out. But as you can see by the thumbnail and title anyway, today we are going to be reviewing Liverpool's season so far. We'll be talking about individual players, we'll be talking about games and all that good stuff as well in tonight's show. Of course, we don't know how long it's going to be because I think we could ramble for about 2 hours about football at least. So it could be 2 hours. Who knows? It probably won't be, but But Chris is in saying, "Evening, lads. Hope you're well. Hopefully, you're having a fantastic day, Chris." Dave is in saying, "Hi, lads. Hopefully, you're well, Dave." Chris says, "Poor Doug having to come on a podcast while Scotland are on." Yeah, we're putting him through the tortures. Apologies for that. Because if Doug screams or there's a show of emotion, you know what's happening. At least, anyway. What else do we have? Data's in as well saying, "Hi, everyone." Dave said, "Come on, Ireland," as well. Seamus is in saying, "Good evening, everyone." Data saying hi to Seamus as well. Chris saying, "I'm watching Scotland game instead of meaningless England friendlies." To be fair, like Data said, I don't watch internationals. Hate them. I think we all bloody hate them, especially after the latest pieces of news anyway concerning Liverpool Football Club and international football. But as you can see on your screen right now, of course, Joey Gomez, the unfortunate news that we brought you yesterday, of course, with Joe Gomez's knee. Well, Liverpool have confirmed today that Liverpool can confirm that Joe Gomez has today undergone successful surgery to repair a tendon in his left knee. The centre-back sustained the injury during a training session with England national team on Wednesday. And then the club then later on go on to say no timescale is being placed upon his return, though the issue is likely to rule him out for a significant part of the remainder of the 2020-21 season. I'll first of all come to Doug with, of course, the news of Joe Gomez's injury. How much of a bad impact is this on Liverpool's season? Of course, with other injuries being a big thing, for Liverpool. How big is Joe Gomez's absence going to be for the Reds?
Massive. I think you can definitely tell it's going to be a massive injury for him. So unlucky on Joe Gomez. He must be the most unluckiest player to play football. The amount of, especially when it comes to long-term injuries as well. I know the club have said that there's no time scale, but they haven't actually ruled him out for the full season. That was very interesting. That they think he could be back before the end of the season, but it's a massive blow. It now means we have to maybe look into trying to keep Matip fit, and as Chris Welsh would say, he's like Weetabix. So I think looking at that, sorry, I had to bring that up, but no, I think it's a blow. I think it's safe to say it's a bit of a blow. Obviously, Trent's out as well. It's kind of going into a bit of a crisis now, but it does give the likes of Nathaniel Phillips, it gives the likes of Reece Williams, maybe Billy Koumetio to come in and step up as well. I saw one suggestion that was Robbo at centre back and then Shimikas at left back. I'm not so sure about that, but I think it's now a case of the youngsters can finally step up now.
Yeah, definitely. And, Jack, of course, ever since, a certain Dutch defender also got injured, that we will talk about later on as well. But, especially over the last couple of games anyway this season, Joe Gomez has really been Liverpool's best. I'd probably say one of Liverpool's best defensive players, at least, in the way that he's taken over, the role of being the commander instead of the guy that's, following the orders as well. Do you think that this is, maybe title ending injury for Liverpool in that aspect of things? Or do you think that, it's just another unfortunate injury, but Liverpool can still cope from this?
Yeah, I think it's just another question mark over Liverpool's title challenge, because if we are to win the title this season, I think it's going to be a big opportunity for, as Doug said, for the young lads anyway. Don't think it's title over. It's far too early in the season anyway, and considering the amount of injuries for the majority of the Premier League, I think if you look at every first team squad in the Premier League, they're all getting absolutely stretched. And it's not nice to see injured players. You want to see the best players on the pitch anyway for Liverpool, and obviously for your opposition teammates anyway. But it will be interesting, mate. I think, as Doug said, the young lads will now most definitely step up. And I think Jurgen Klopp, he wanted to give the opportunity for these young lads anyway, because I think if he was concerned about getting injuries in the centre-back positions anyway, I think he would have made a move in the prior transfer window anyway, because considering we did let Dejan Lovren go and then we didn't quite bring anyone in, obviously we've had Fabinho injured as well, we've had Trent injured, Gomez, Van Dijk, they've all been tallying up really, and I'm very intrigued to see what this does mean for Liverpool, because we have adapted our formation, obviously, to a 4-2-3-1, or depends on whoever you play, 4-3-3. But it's just another question mark over this squad. And I think there was a lot of question marks asked last season, and Liverpool got over those hurdles. And I think it's just another hurdle that Liverpool, I tell you, if you look back on this season and Liverpool do win the Premier League title, it'd be fantastic, and I'm very intrigued to see what this does mean going forward.
Yeah, definitely. I think I said yesterday it would probably be one of, if not the greatest ever Premier League wins, like title wins, by a club, in my personal opinion. But guys, let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below anyway about Joey Gomez's injury, and who would you bring in? Because of course we will be talking about January, towards the end of the show, of course. But so tonight's topics anyway, realistically, we're going to be talking in a moment about anything that we would like to talk about, anything that's happened in world football away from Liverpool a little bit, and then we will be talking a little bit more about Liverpool. We'll be talking about the summer signings and how they have done so far this season. We'll be going game by game and having a look at certain aspects of the season so far. Of course, we'll be talking about that Aston Villa game and what Jurgen Klopp has done since then to maybe change things defensively, and then of course we'll be talking a bit more then about injuries and other things and a bit about January anyway. But I'll go back to Doug then. Is there anything that's happened in football that has made you happy or made you very annoyed? I believe there is one thing, but yeah, take it away.
Yeah. If anyone did not know this, Croatian defender Domagoj Vida tested positive for the virus after playing 45 minutes against Turkey, and only found out at half time that he had done a test before the game and started. But Croatia, this is what gets me really baffled, is that actually the Croatian FA knew about Vida actually testing positive before the game started, didn't tell the coaching staff. So Vida played 45 minutes. I had to be subbed off at half time and then he had to go straight into isolation. I mean, what goes through their heads? Like, Vida has tested positive for COVID-19 and nobody at the Croatian FA tells them. So that's something that's really annoyed me. Two Livingston players have also tested positive for the virus as well. But they're absolutely fine. Everything's done at the football club. I mean, obviously, good luck Scotland tonight. Good luck Northern Ireland tonight. Yeah, I mean, Gareth Southgate's a bit of a prick. So yeah, everything's fine and dandy.
I think that nails that up perfectly. It's just Gareth Southgate a prick. Like he just is, isn't he? And look, the Croatia stuff and that, like they're gonna get punished for some reason. Like not some reason, of course, but they're gonna get punished somehow. Whether or not that will be a fine or a ban maybe somewhere, because FIFA always love giving out stupid bans anyway. But I think Doug's now had his little bit of a rant. Anyway, Jack, has there been anything in the world of football that has made you happy or made you a bit annoyed this week?
As I was saying just before I went on air, mate, it's been quite depressing in terms of football anyway, and like it's just mad. And obviously, we all love Liverpool and we just want them to be starting. If in an ideal world, I'd love to get rid of international football and just play club football, because that's all really we care about. I don't bother with England. I'll watch it winning the semis or finals, but I never, ever, ever go out my way to really look and watch a game of England. I'd much rather watch the Reds play and win. Like, it baffles me. Absolutely baffles me, and it enrages me, and it probably enrages you and everyone at home watching and around world football. Just the international pointless friendlies. I know Scotland are playing a very big game tonight, but in terms of club friendlies, like friendlies anyway, in general for the international games, I know I was watching France last night. They got beat 2-0 anyway. Obviously, Kylian Mbappe's out injured as well for a couple of months. Obviously, that was prior to obviously the French game anyway. But there'd be a lot of clubs analysing the way in which FIFA and UEFA are congesting the fixture pile-up, obviously, with what's happened over the last couple of months anyway. You can't obviously plan for that. But it's just shocking. It's all about money and greed from FIFA, obviously, in terms of obviously planning these friendlies. And I think the England-Iceland game that was potentially getting abandoned, obviously, due to obviously the pandemic.
England-Iceland is now going ahead because the government have granted an exemption because they're elite athletes as well.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous, mate. I'm hoping everyone's clubs and Liverpool's players, I just hope they don't get any more injuries, because it is bound to happen. And considering we're going into what are the two biggest months in European football in terms of fixture pile-up, obviously November and December, it's not just going to be the case of Liverpool's players getting injured. It's going to be a case of everyone's players getting injured. I think this probably will be the only start. And I
found it evidently that Tony Kroos came out and said that we're being asked to play all these games in a short period of time, and basically we are UEFA and FIFA's puppets. And quite frankly, I totally agree with him.
Didn't Dejan Lovren
Yeah.
defend? Yeah, he defend Tony Cruz, didn't he? Because he got a lot of criticism from it and that, and it was like, but to be fair, Tony Cruz is speaking a lot of truth there, because at the end of the day, the Premier League at the minute has the most injuries out of any other league, and like it's not just a little bit, it's like a big gap between us. I think the Bundesliga is next. I'm not really sure on that, but I know that the gap is very, very high. Indeed, but for me, I'm going to go with Jack as well on this. International friendlies. What the fuck is the point in international friendlies? Like, there is no need. I said this yesterday, or like on the Joe Gomez injury. Unless it's an international qualifier like Scotland are right now, that has some significance to a tournament that we all love, like UEFA, the Euros and the World Cups and things like that. That's totally fine. It's meaningful. But when you have to risk people's safety, in this like pandemic and that for what, a friendly? There's just no need for it. In my personal opinion.
Just to make the prawn cocktail sandwich brigade happy, really, people at the top. It's mad, mate. And I think we're angry as supporters and everyone around the world, Liverpool fans. We woke up to the news Gomez had been injured, and Southgate reportedly said no one was near Gomez. But I tell you, obviously, I don't know if obviously there was press there or anything, if there was anyone actually seen what happened. If it was to come out that something did happen, I don't think Southgate would be very happy anyway. But Jurgen Klopp would have woke up exactly like us, absolutely ballistic. He would have been, he would have, he's definitely, if I was him, I'd be definitely onto the phone to the FA and be like, what is happening? And I tell you, I think obviously we played Manchester City. I'm pretty sure Jurgen and Pep had a cuppa after the game, or a pint after the game in their manager's office, and just said, we need to sort something out. Because I think you will see in the next couple of weeks, managers actually coming out. I know obviously we've probably got ages until international friendlies anyway, or not. It's after Christmas, isn't it? It's like quite a while after this period. Yeah. And I think the managers will be up in arms celebrating, because it'd be a disgrace. But it's always the case. How many times has Ox been injured with England? He always used to get injured with England. Lallana used to always get injured with England. Sturridge, we'd get him fully fit. He'd go away with England, get injured again. Because obviously, Liverpool and obviously other Premier League teams and players, they all have certain fitness regimes, and obviously the way in which how many times they can train and all that. And then when you go away with England or any international games, managers and teams, all that goes out the window. The clubs are the people that pay the players' wages week in, week out. And there should be at least a fine or certain compensation being paid from the officials of the top-ranking nations of world football. There surely should be some.
Well, you say that with the injuries and that. I believe this is Joe Gomez's third big injury for Liverpool since being at the club. 2 of them have been involving with England at some capacity. It's time that change is needed, and I believe Pep. I believe Pep and Jurgen were speaking with each other about it, and I think Pep said it. I think he might have said it on Match of the Day, like when they do their interviews after the game. They were talking about the 5 substitute rule and how good it's working in other countries, and then how in this country, it's like everyone's getting injured and things like this. And I think that rule in particular, it might need looking at again for this season. And of course, that would benefit then the teams like Liverpool, Manchester City, the teams that have the bigger squads. But I think for all round Premier League, to keep everyone, as fit as possible, I think the 5 substitute rule is the way forward for now. And then when we get back to hopefully normality next year, or maybe the year after that, then potentially maybe bring things back to the 3 substitute rule, when everyone's had like a full preseason, and when everyone's had full time to prepare for this chaotic season anyway, in my personal opinion. But guys, let us know your thoughts anyway in the comment section down below. Let me read out a few of your comments anyway. And as well, before I do forget, if you've got any questions as well for myself, Jack or Doug, about anything, Liverpool, anything football that you guys want answering, or, whatever, then please do feel free to leave your comments in the comment section down below. Let me scroll a bit more because there's a few more comments than I thought there was. Chris said, I think we can still win the league, just can't afford injuries to Henderson, Salah or Mane. It's going to be a crazy season, and we got to keep everyone in cotton wool, really, for the entirety of the season. Chris says it's important that Reece Williams and Nat Phillips got game time under them already. It's very, very crucial for them anyway. Data says, January transfer window is close. Without it, I highly doubt we will win the league. We need 2 quality centre backs signed in the transfer window. Look, everyone's going to charge us premium prices now, and realistically, we have the best 2 people in the world to try and get it down in Michael Edwards and Jurgen Klopp, and all the people that we don't know about in the transfer committee. So, look, Liverpool at the minute are probably the best people to get a deal where there is a deal. And at the minute, fingers crossed Michael Edwards can pull something out the hat yet again, especially with certain people anyway. Chris says, I think we have to sign a centre-back in January. No excuse not to sign one. I think that's a bit of an understatement, Chris, for being perfectly honest, mate. But yeah, we do definitely need a centre-half for sure. I would agree with that. If we win the league without injury list, we will not shut up about it to rival fans. I will slaughter them, trust me. I think all of us should. I would not argue with any of us if we slaughtered every single Man United fan, Everton fan, freaking Aston Villa fan for this season, especially after that certain game. I
wasn't celebrating that. I was just my PS5's just being confirmed. So yeah. I just got an email.
Of course, you mentioned the PS5.
It's got a confirmation. I've got, and I was loading up the Scotland score as well. It's currently still 0-0.
Wait, when is your PS5 coming?
On delay. It was getting packed apparently. Says the email. If you want to believe everything, but.
Right, so Jack's not posting any videos for November, December now. It's literally no video.
It's just gonna be Southgate. It's gonna be Southgate out.
No, it's Jack Matt Gaming now, and it's freaking just gaming content.
Full time Twitch. Yeah.
Right. Well, let's get into actually reviewing this season then, of course, a little bit. Let me get up the fixtures for you guys, because I actually did that for once for you guys. But of course, Liverpool did play this season. Of course, starting with Leeds United. If we look at the first 4 games of the season, of course, beating Leeds United 4-3. Of course, Mo Salah getting a hat-trick in that game. We all know what Mo has done this season, of course, and Leeds, of course, scaring us to death, really, as well. But of course, beating Leeds 4-3. The dominant performance against Chelsea, 2-0 result there. First time that we saw a certain Thiago Alcantara, of course, then beating Lincoln 7-2, and then Arsenal 3-1 in that game as well. I'll ask Jack this first. Out of them games, which of them were a standout to you in terms of performance? And in terms of the grit about it, because there's 3 hard Premier League games there against Leeds, Chelsea, and Arsenal. And I think for many people there would be different answers. And but what game for you was the best out of them 3, at least?
I'd have to say, mate, it'd have to be the Chelsea game, because obviously Stamford Bridge, obviously Chelsea, you never know with how good they are. And going into this season, everyone was ranting and raving about this Chelsea squad. Oh, it's going to be absolutely fantastic with all those new signings anyway. So the Chelsea game, phenomenal performance, really stand out. And the first starter game of the season as well. What a way to start the season, obviously against Leeds United. I think we were one of the first games to kickstart the new season, new campaign anyway. You would have thought Leeds United coming to Anfield, scored in 3 goals. It was a bit of a scare, but it was a fantastic game for me, really, mate. And I just loved the way they approached coming to Anfield. A lot of teams, when they do come to Anfield, sit behind the ball and really look to Liverpool on the counter. Leeds and Bielsa were like, no. But yeah, for enjoyment aspect, I'd have to go to the Leeds one because it was just so up and down and really the performance in general. But for the most professional performance, I'd go with Chelsea. I think if you looked at that fixture can pile up anyway, or like the fixtures when they come out, I think you probably would have expected us to drop points against Chelsea or possibly in Arsenal, depending on how good they play. I know we played at home anyway, but yeah, there's only been one slight blip this season, as maybe you know that game. But yeah, it'll definitely have to be those 2 fixtures, mate.
Yeah, definitely. And Doug, I'll ask you the same question. Of course, as we know, Mo Salah loved scoring against Leeds United, of course, grabbing a hat-trick against them, of course. I know that Carl, but I know you and Carl did a watch-along for it, I believe, on your channel, if I'm being correct in that. And I know that all of it, I think all of us were looking forward, of course, to a new Premier League season, but it was very nerve-wracking because I think I said this to Carl at the time. It was a very unpredictable game for Leeds United because we all knew what Leeds had done in the Championship, being this attacking force, but we never knew what they were going to be like in Premier League action. We didn't know whether or not if they would try and adapt to that Premier League style of things. For you, I'll ask the same that what Jack just answered. What was the performance for you out of those games? Which one did you prefer the most? And what was the most enjoyable game for you? Was it that Leeds game as well?
I mean, Leeds United was an absolute classic. Let's just say it was nice to be on the end of a 4-3 to us, because we've been on a 4-3 to Leeds and they won at Elland Road. So it was nice. It was nice to sort of role reversal kind of thing at Anfield. But no, the Leeds United game was very, very enjoyable. 4-3 in the end. It was a very, very good game. I mean, we have to give credit to Leeds United. I think they've done really well since they came back up. Bamford has surprised nearly everybody, including me. I said he couldn't score goals in this league, and yet look, he's proven everyone wrong, to be fair. Cheers, Rodrigo, for the penalty. Thank you. But saying that, Chelsea away was a standout game for me because that put down a marker for the rest of the season, I think, is the fact that we went to Stamford Bridge. I don't think anyone expected us to get wet. I remember that game thinking, oh, Chelsea are going to, do this Liverpool team. Chelsea are going to, get a draw out of this Liverpool team. The fact that it was with 10 men, but if you remember, Gomez missed that game. Fabinho had to play at centre-back. Fabinho was outstanding against Chelsea in that game. And yeah, we saw Thiago Alcantara, who passed the ball more times than any Chelsea midfielder for that second 45 minutes. Unbelievable. So the Chelsea game was very, very good as well. So, and then, Arsenal, everyone says that, this is a very improving Arsenal side, but obviously we know about the result of the weekend. But that game against Arsenal again, they had chances. They did have chances to, put us away. They did take the lead in that game as well. They had a chance to put that at 2-0. And, once you don't take your chances, Liverpool are going to win anyway. But for me, the standout performance was Chelsea. The most enjoyable game was Leeds United. And I think most improved performance was Arsenal.
Yeah, I would agree with that. To be fair, I think the entertainment version of Leeds versus Liverpool, I think all of us were of course, Liverpool have had phenomenal games. We all remember Liverpool versus Arsenal, where there's been plenty of goals. Liverpool versus Newcastle, there's obviously Stan Collymore and that famous goal, and that over the years. But that game, it was so good for the opening of the Premier League as well. And, under these dark times, then really it was a good opener for not only us, really. I know Leeds fans were kind of happy with the performance, of course, not with the result, but, just showing that Liverpool, even though we did play a very bad game in many aspects, we could still come away with all 3 points by grinding it out. And that for me, I'm gonna go performance out of them lot. I'm going to go for Chelsea. I agree with you, lads. I think that second half performance with Thiago as well coming on was absolutely fantastic. And the most enjoyable game for me, it wasn't the Leeds game, it was the actual Arsenal game for me, because this isn't for every Arsenal fan, but for certain Arsenal fans, they were saying, "Oh, we've got Partey, we've got Aubameyang, we've got Lacazette. Oh, we're going to come to Anfield and we're like, there's no way we're going to lose or anything like this." Okay, you went 1-0 up, and then within, the funniest thing was like you woke up an animal in Liverpool being, so quiet in the first 20 minutes. Arsenal score, and then they go, "Oh, okay, we're just going to turn it up now. We're going to turn it up from like 0 to 100, and then we'll go back down to 0 again." And that's what happened. Arsenal did have chances and that, but for me anyway, Liverpool, we didn't even get out of second gear, and we were dominating the game in many respects. So imagine if a Liverpool, in 5th or 6th gear.
Yeah, I'd have to say the Ajax game as well. It was probably so professional. I think if you looked at Liverpool's, and even the Atalanta one, it would have fallen 5-0 away to Atalanta. I think if you analyse both games as well, obviously Michelin's very professional performance, but considering how many goals have been conceded in this season, it's been a case of grinded 2-1 wins or a 1-0 there and there, and then sometimes you obviously like the Atalanta one, you'd absolutely smashed them, but as well at the Sheffield United 1-1, that was a very difficult game as well. I was very impressed with how Sheffield United approached the game. And that as well, and obviously we're not going to mention the 7-2, but that was probably one of the worst highlights if you're going to counteract that argument.
You could call it that in some respects. You could call it probably one of the darkest days of Liverpool's history, for sure. But if we take another look then at the scores, of course, the first 4 games, all sun and roses. Liverpool win all 4, and then the next 2, the next 3, then really. It wasn't really great. Getting knocked out of the Capital One Cup or League Cup or the Mickey Mouse Cup, whatever you want to call it. And it made Arsenal fans very happy. I know it did on winning the penalty.
One of the highlights of the season.
They were the prime Barcelona in that game, even though it was mainly Liverpool's kids. But as you can see, 7-2 against Aston Villa. I know that it don't look good. It doesn't. I think it hurts us. Even mentioned 7-2, especially as well. But I really want to ask you guys this anyway. I'll ask you both this, and both of you can answer it right now. Was the Arsenal defeat to Aston Villa worse than Liverpool's?
Yes.
Anyone can answer that.
Yeah, because Liverpool at least scored 2 goals.
That's true.
Arsenal were getting beat 2-0, and they had 8-9 men behind the ball and still conceded. I'm sorry, but don't get me wrong. Yeah, we conceded 7. That's a lot of goals, but these Liverpool tried to at least try and score some goals. I was all for Arteta. He looks like an exciting young manager. But you were all harping on about Arsenal fans. Oh, we don't want Jose Mourinho because he plays boring and pragmatic defensive football. And now they've got a manager that just sits behind the ball.
That does exactly that.
Don't get me wrong. You have Arteta. He's not blessed with great defensive options, so he's probably having to go defensive, and he can't play that attacking football that he wants to at the minute. But that's no excuse. The players that are at Arsenal Football Club, you've got some of the world's best attackers. The amount of times I see Aubameyang down the wing, play him down the middle, and he will get you goals. Lacazette just sticks his backside into all the defenders and gets away with it. Like, just because he does that, then it's mad. It's absolutely mad. But yeah, they've had a shocking start to the season.
I remember, I think I was watching, of course, our friends over on Claude and the Band, and I know they were having a very much intense argument with one another about Arteta. And I know Arsenal fans now, some want him out now, some want him out, already, and that. And then, like, for me, that's no sign of progression at all. Especially after that, Capital One Cup or Mickey Mouse Cup win, they were going, oh, we've gone to Anfield, we've won, we're through, we've knocked the Premier League champions out, and within the space of 4 weeks, they all want him out. There's no progression there. And there's no way that club is going to move forward, in my personal opinion, if not even the fans are willing to have bad results to go forward.
Yeah, I think you need to analyse as an individual fan as well. If you're an Arsenal fan, you know what you're going to get. You got rid of your most successful manager. Obviously, times it did change. You did need to change anyway. You got rid of him, got Unai Emery. Probably had a better start to his career than Arteta has had currently, if you put the records side by side anyway. It is expected, obviously, Jurgen Klopp. I think with Jurgen, and everyone likes to go, oh, yeah, Jurgen had time. But Jurgen had improvements season on, season out. You actually knew and you looked at Jurgen Klopp's plan and vision for the football club. Within the first game, when we played Spurs, where you could instantly see, he didn't have the players he's got now. He had to bring a lot of them players in. But he identified a certain pattern of play in which he wanted and expected his players. When you've got players that aren't absolutely putting in a shift, it's basics of fundamental football. Yeah. Imagine you're a player and you're playing for Arsenal Football Club. That's an absolute dream for millions of kids around the world that want to play for that shirt. Liverpool is an institution as well, and big clubs. Some of these players are just passengers, really. And you've got loads of kids in probably the Arsenal Academy that probably play, that run through an absolute brick wall for the club. And you've got players that are there's ways to get beat. And I think Jorgen and Connor, I think everyone at home as well, there's ways to get beat and there's ways to get beat, if you get me. You look at a team, you're like when we got battered by Watford last season, that was such a bad display. And we deserve that. And the Aston Villa game, we deserve that because just some of the defending was absolutely shocking. It was a disgrace. But it's about analysing results and actually learning from it. And I think every result Liverpool do have, Klopp analyses it thoroughly and he makes sure that it doesn't really happen. And obviously, and the underestimated, and I think, Doug and Connor, do you reckon Arsenal massively undervalued Aston Villa going into that game, considering they had the carbon copy of the game example of always getting absolutely battered by Aston Villa? That happened in the same season. It only happened a couple of weeks. And if you're doing that to the champions of Europe, champions of the Premier League, then Arsenal would have got battered. It's like almost you forgot Aston Villa smashed Liverpool 7-2. It's mad.
Aston Villa, to be fair, Aston Villa absolutely dominated Arsenal in that game. That could have been, I know it was 3-0, but they obviously had the McGinn goal ruled out for what I will not know how that was deemed offside by VAR. And I mean, we all know what our thoughts are on VAR, but it could have been 8. It actually could have been 8-0 in that game. Aston Villa absolutely dominated. And this is the thing with Arsenal. They've got an average squad. There's still some deadwood in that team. If you look through our team and you look through Arsenal's team, how many players would you say are deadwood? Mustafi, Socrates, Xhaka. How's Xhaka still there? Someone tell me how Granit Xhaka. Yeah, Aubameyang since he signed his new contract looks like Gervinho. He's been shocking.
Well, we called it at the beginning of the season. We're not even Arsenal fans. We said as soon as he signs that contract, he'd go off the boil. He was playing for the contract. Yeah, it was so blatantly obvious.
Lacazette has been absolutely shocking again this season. Pepe is now a £72 million flop. Willian was terrible at the weekend against Aston Villa. So there's big problems at Arsenal, and they need a massive overhaul. They need a massive overhaul, and they've got a player who's not even playing now, who's not even got a number. Mesut
Ozil. Yeah.
And he bought that centre back as well, didn't he, from the French side last season or in January?
He's not been seen.
He can't play till January.
Right, imagine if you're spending 25-30 million pounds on a centre back. Imagine that. Like, it just makes me laugh, and it'd be interesting to see how the Arsenal fans analyse that. As no, they'll get absolutely spot on there.
Absolute madness. But put it this way.
Well, everyone, let us know in the comments anyway your thoughts about it, because I think all of us could agree Arsenal fans were bigging up Arsenal to be a contender for Liverpool at least. And for me, they're not. They are miles off it still. And it's like when I think all of us, we were doing Premier League predictions and things like this. I think a lot of what we predicted, to be, people to be close to Liverpool has changed quite a lot, because of this unpredictable season. And look, Aston Villa right now could be a title contender in some people's eyes, a real title contender, because they've beaten us, they've beaten Arsenal, and they, I say they haven't looked vulnerable. They lost a 3-0 against Leeds United.
Leicester.
Yeah, they beat Leicester as well.
Beat Leicester.
It was the reaction, though. Like, that's what you get from top sides. And it'd be interesting. I'd love it. Aston Villa used to be a massive club, obviously before we were born and that a while ago. But you've won European Cups and that. But it's the reaction. I think that's what I love about. They've had an absolute shocking season last season, but it all comes down to the players, doesn't it? The players wanted that, and they were like, "Right, boys, we've got battered." And Ollie Watkins used Arsenal as a dance floor, like many players have done in the past. And he said it out, so we can't say that. But and even the Watkins said after the game, when I'm an Arsenal fan. I'll tell you, Arsenal could deal with him up front at the minute.
I'll tell you something about that Aston Villa team, though. Grealish, Watkins, Trezeguet, McGinn, Douglas Luiz, and Barkley. That is some spine. And then you've got Mings and you've got Emi Martinez. Explain to me why Arsenal sold Emi Martinez.
You got rid of the best keeper at the club.
don't get the guys over on Claude the Band's talking about that, because I think they've even had arguments about that as well. And plus as well, if any of them are watching this on repeat, this is all banter type thing. There is a little bit of fishiness to it, because bugger Arsenal, but whatever, but yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts anyway in the comment section down below. Data says Southgate is useless. He will never be a great manager. Same as Ollie. We'll probably talk about Man United.
He's just a yes man, isn't he, Jenny? I think he just says yes, doesn't he? To everything.
He likes his favourites as well.
Chris says, God help this country. If they win meaningless Nations League tournament, they will treat it bigger win ever in the fan. But yeah, that's true. Hang on a minute. Chris says, I'd rather watch kids programs with my niece than watch the England friendlies and Nations League. Yeah, I think many of us would.
Probably more entertaining than watching England 5 at the back.
Mate, get me watching. Get me watching Pokemon, and then that's fine. Data says has returned. It's not a pot noodle, it's a drink. It's a cup, man. But yeah, it's great for it to return. Already read the comment. Data says good luck to Scotland tonight. Seema says
thank you, Data.
We have 8 games in December. A lot of games close together this season, hence why us and other clubs are seeing injuries. Like I said, Premier League injuries are mounting up by the minute. Then realistically, Data says, has Doug got whiskey in that bottle? Do you have whiskey in the bottle, Doug?
What?
Probably later if Scotland do qualify. See him
I don't
disappear
know
for
if
a
you-
couple of seconds.
Don't know if you can. No, you can't see it. No
Yeah,
data.
just fill it.
No.
Just pour it out.
I've got work tomorrow at 10:00 tomorrow. So no. It's water.
So the whiskey's helping. But Chris says, I've been happy with our start of the season. It's what I expected apart from Aston Villa. Shambles, VAR shambles at Everton. We will talk about that next, about the shambles of VAR at Everton. Chris says, performance of the season so far, away to Chelsea for me. The Leeds game, I enjoyed 4 goals from us, but me ranting for Leeds goals didn't do my heart any good. I think that was the same for everyone, to be honest. Though it says Barcelona unveiled themselves as an experiment by La Liga and the Spanish Football Association to sign Braithwaite, I think that's how you say it, outside of the regular transfer window following a season-ending injury to Dembele. Look, if some reason the Premier League decided to go to Liverpool,
if that was
if you could sign a centre half, then that would be fucking perfect right now for Liverpool. But sadly, we're not Barcelona, and we're not.
I was going to say, La Liga's fiddled, isn't it? It's absolutely fiddled, and the FA is controlled by Fergie in the UK, so there's no chance of Fergie allowing Liverpool to centre back. So,
imagine. Data says, so why can't Liverpool sign a player? The circumstances are more or less the same because we're not Barcelona, we're not corrupt, practically.
And La Liga is corrupt as beep.
Yes, very, very, very corrupt. Chris says Arsenal is worse than they lost 3-0 at home. Not lost, actually got smashed. Mate, they got friggin' pal drives. It wasn't friggin'. They didn't get smashed. They got fucking torn apart.
What was the famous words of that Norwegian commentator? Your boys took a hell of a beating.
Who said that?
It was a famous Norwegian commentator. It was when Norway beat England, and oh goodness me, it was a long time ago. It was when Norway beat England, I think 4-1. No, sorry, it was Denmark. It was Denmark when they beat England 4-1 in a friendly, and one of the famous commentaries was, "Your boys took a hell of a beating."
Well, that's just normally England in a European in a competition. That is. To be fair, I'm taking shots. Like Jeannie says, evening everyone. I hope everyone is safe and well. Doing fantastic, Jeannie. Hopefully you're well as well, mate. People saying hi to Jeannie as well. Chris says, remember Arteta sussed Klopp out of the Carabao Cup, bunch of clowns. Clown spam in the chat. We will answer that question, Chris. That will be later on, of course, as later on in the show as well. But of course, the lads have mentioned, Aston Villa and that, and like we said, we will talk about how Klopp has changed, from that defensively anyway, of course. But I want to quickly talk about, of course, the Everton game. I think that's been probably the most talked about game, even more than the Aston Villa game for Liverpool this season, especially with VAR and injuries as well. Of course, as I think I've got it up on the thing. Yes, I do have it. Of course, this man Virgil van Dijk, of course, getting injured in that game after this poor challenge, and I hate putting it up, but I have to really. But just seeing that, it's like it was at this moment. Oh.
Get in! 1-0.
Scotland 1-0 up.
Get in! 1-0. Get in!
Scotland. Get in.
Scotland have scored.
Get in. Who's it? Christie? Is it? Yeah, Christie.
Scotland's going to the
Christie,
Euros.
yeah.
But where was I?
Scotland.
Virgil van Dijk. But yeah, as of course, Virgil van Dijk getting injured and that. To be fair, I've just
sorry everyone, sorry.
Just pure emotion, like for that Doug's death ban. No, I'm kidding. It's good that Scotland are winning, and look, we can all maybe laugh at Northern Ireland for not getting in, but look, at the end of the day, Liverpool. That game was more talked about, more than any other game this season. I'll ask Doug this first, of course, after Scotland scoring. But, like how are you still feeling after that Everton game? Of course, Thiago being out since that game, Virgil van Dijk being out now for this entirety of the season, and that VAR call as well, with the offsides and that. Have you got over it yet, or is it still hurts whenever we talk about it?
It's the most frustrating game I think I've ever watched as a Liverpool fan. Put it this way, it was just wrong, completely and utterly wrong. Here's the thing I don't get. Now, you have to say that how Pickford came out, like he has history for that. He has absolute history. He's done it as well. But you have to say that the foul on Van Dijk was a penalty to begin with. I don't know how they managed to get, this is the thing with VAR. It's so inconsistent with the squiggly lines across. Like, Van Dijk wasn't even offside. So, how he doesn't go to VAR for that tackle on Pickford was ridiculous. Richarlison is a thug. I'm sorry to say that, but Richarlison is a thug. He's previous at Watford, and that tackle on Thiago was absolutely disgusting as well. And don't even get me started on the blooming offside. It was not even offside. And I mean, if we're gonna be basically now said that our backs are going to be offside, then give me a break. VAR is just stupid as anything. But yeah, apart from that, I thought we played very well in that game. And Mo Salah got his 100th goal in that game. I think everyone needs to remember that. And Mane as well. He loves scoring against Everton, especially at Goodison. But yeah, that was probably one of the most frustrating games I've ever seen. But apart from that, it was a good game.
Yeah, just apart from that, but yeah, Jack, same for you. Have you got over that game yet? Because I know a lot of people were sick and I think Liverpool fans as well were sick and tired of the media keeping on about Van Dijk's injury, and kept keeping on and showing us and that, and just trying to bring it up every time Liverpool were being mentioned. But are you over that game yet at all? I know. I think all of us are a bit mixed. I think all of us are a bit mixed reactions then, really.
Yeah, as soon as the final whistle blew, I think that's football is a very short game anyway, and you can reply to that. And I think the results after the game were absolutely fantastic anyway. Players do get injured, and Everton will get injuries this season, and Liverpool will get injuries as well. So I think it will level itself out. I'm a firm believer in karma anyway, but it's how Liverpool do deal with this now, and I think it's with diversity and how games do go. And I think Jurgen Klopp will probably use that game as an example to say, right, you had a lot of possession, we dominated the game, but you switched off for the 2 goals anyway, and we shouldn't have really put ourselves in that position really where we were relying on offsides and that. We should have done enough in the game really to put the game above doubt really, and just win the game. But I can't wait. The reaction from Liverpool after that result anyway was fantastic over the last couple of weeks anyway. But yeah, it was mainly the media, mate. I think the media. I went off Twitter for a couple of days, and the media was still bringing up stuff. Obviously that's their job, and it was every avenue you looked at. Obviously the newspapers, YouTube, and everywhere around every media source. It was, Pickford's done Van Dijk, so and so, something said that, and blah blah blah. Sound like Jose Mourinho in the documentary, blah 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 blah. But yeah, that's basically what it was.
Blah blah blah.
It was just noise, and you're like, just move on. Don't get me wrong, we've lost Van Dijk, but it's a big opportunity for our players really to step up. And Liverpool have had a better defensive record when Van Dijk this season has not been playing. So that's detriment to our players that are actually playing, obviously in the absence. And this could be making breaks. Similar to when Trent had that opportunity to come into the squad. And this could be another big opportunity for the young lads. I think Doug mentioned the 2 young lads anyway, at the top of the show. If you're them, you're absolutely not. you're not happy when you see a colleague get injured, but for them personally, to get an opportunity to play, there won't be any bigger opportunities than now coming into that academy, and obviously the new brand spank academy anyway. Or well, it's been merged. The training facility now, all these players are going to be together in a more tight-knit group, and it probably will make Van Dijk and Gomez, that partnership, a lot more stronger in the long run, because obviously they'll be going through rehabilitation together. So, but yeah, I moved on, mate. As soon as the whistle went, I had my rants after my post-match, and really, as I said, karma will come about. So, it was
it will come out.
It has to be fair. It has to be fair, because they've lost 3 games on the bounce since then.
Yeah.
So, I hope it doesn't stop.
haven't they lost 4 on the bounce? Or is that just me?
It will be after the international.
3, I think.
Was it 4?
Southampton, Newcastle, Manchester United.
Either way, they're shite. Yeah, and now they're Premier League challenge. Well, I'll be looking forward to Everton's DVD that's going to come out in May. We were top for a month, and I see the sales on that bounce thing anyway.
At least we've actually got a title-winning DVD out, like at the minute. So.
Well, I think that's out next week. I think it might even be out now.
I might send a couple of those copies to Everton mates. I might send one to Ryan.
Oh yeah, send one to Ryan. If Ryan's watching, then I'll personally send it and put a message in if you Ryan as well. But
Ryan Kiss from the boys. Up to that.
Data says sorry, have to go. Great show. Chat soon. Stay safe. Data. Hopefully you have a fantastic rest of your day as well. But let's quickly talk then about the rest of the games. Then, of course, we talked about Everton. Of course, after that Villa game, and then I think that one of the highlights then for Liverpool, especially with all the injuries and that this season, is the Champions League run at the minute. We're currently top of the group, 9 points out of 9. Of course, as you can see, but they're beating Ajax 1-0. Of course, we beat Sheffield United as well in that time. Beat Midtjylland, of course, again then at Anfield, beating West Ham 2-1, and then that fantastic performance then against Atalanta, which for me, is it's got to be up there, one of Jurgen Klopp's best ever team performances, really, in many respects, especially concerning these 3, Thiago Jota, Sadio Mane, and Mo Salah. Them 3 absolutely, fantastic and working together as well. But we were, and of course as well that night in Ajax as well. Of course, Curtis Jones, getting his first start, I believe, in the Champions League as well. So that's fantastic for him as well. But you two, summed it up perfectly. Opportunities, unfortunately, with these injuries are, now a common thing, and I think this is really like going into the thing. What has Jurgen Klopp done, to improve Liverpool defensively, as well, and since that Villa game. And I think, of course, he's changed the high line, kind of. We've gone a bit more deeper now. We're not as front forward as we once were. And of course, as well, we've changed systems. We've gone, from a 4-3-3 to a 4-2-3-1. It's constantly changing, though, because 1 minute it's 4-3-3, next minute it's 4-2-3-1. We've even seen 4-4-2 being put in place as well. Of course, the Manchester City game very recently as well. And the one question that I really wanted to ask, and I'll ask Doug this first, with the introduce into the man, the myth, the legend, the best Portuguese player of all time, Thiago Jota, coming in and taking that role, of course, that Bobby Firmino role, and becoming an absolute sensation for Liverpool, especially over the last couple of games, of course. How much of an impact has he made to this Liverpool squad, in terms of scoring the goals, of course, and we talked a little bit about opportunities as well. For me personally, I think Reece Williams is probably the starting centre back for our European games now. Do you also see it like that, or do you think that he'll be rotated with Matip and Fabinho going forward?
I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I think Reece Williams, for me, hasn't put a foot wrong since he's came into the team, and I mean, there's no problem. He's only he's a wee mini Van Dijk, isn't he? So, no, I'm only joking for that. But no, for me, Reece Williams has to start in the Champions League. I think he's been outstanding. I don't see why. There's no reason to drop him either. And yeah, the man of the moment, Diogo Jota, who, let's be honest, I think we've kind of pulled the pants down on Wolves to 41 million rising to 45. I mean, that's looking like an absolute bargain already. I think it was 7 goals in 10 games or something since he's came in is absolutely incredible. And, first Champions League hat-trick as well. Fantastic. And he's only going to get better. And yeah, I mean, look, he's actually came in. He's making Klopp have a bit of a headache because at the moment you can't really keep him out. And I thought he was outstanding against Manchester City as well. So again, I actually think Jota. I think he is going to score more goals. I think you could probably see him getting maybe 15, 20 this season.
Very, very interesting. I could definitely see that as well. And Jack, I know that, like I said, Curtis Jones, getting that opportunity in midfield, especially, with the likes of Gini Wijnaldum as well, and that partnership really growing in the Champions League, of course. Would you say that, along with Reece Williams, being there at centre half, do you think that Curtis Jones now is probably the starting centre mid for Liverpool, or do you think that that will pretty much depend on rotation?
Is that in Europe?
Yeah, in Europe. Yeah, in Europe.
Yeah, I think fully agree with that, mate. Obviously, due to the injury crisis Liverpool are currently find themselves in anyway. Obviously, with Thiago, so up and down. Anyway, could be fit, could be not, depending on what kind of day you get him on. So I think Gini, towards Gini and Jones, they're phenomenal, both of them. The fitness levels in which both of them do show anyway, and I think Curtis and what Jurgen Klopp has believed in Curtis, especially in European competitions. I mean, he got brought off at half time. Was it against the Ajax anyway? I think he played the majority of the Atalanta game. Or was it the Michelin game? I think he come off on one of them, half time. But yeah, he's going from strength to strength, mate. And I think Klopp's playing it absolutely spot on with Curtis Jones. He's given him minutes. Jones is doing everything completely right. He's doing everything, training as much as he can, and he will get his opportunities in the Premier League. And we need to remember he's such a young lad as well anyway, and he's got a lot of future development still to come. And there's no better players to really develop your game off than one, possibly the best European midfielder that was last season. That was Thiago. And you obviously got Gini, a shining example. If Gini does leave, I think we'll all be gutted, but I think he'll learn a lot from Gini as well. Very experienced captain in the Dutch national team anyway. But I can't wait to see him, especially Curtis Jones. The games have suited Liverpool, especially I think, how you feel, Doug and Connor and everyone at home. Our group, it's not quite that we've got Atletico Madrid and that, have we? Teams that sit behind the ball. I think you can allow yourself to really play a likes of Curtis Jones, who likes to elaborate his game. He likes to get at plays and drive at the opposition defenders. So Curtis Jones, definitely, mate. I think Klopp will continue to go with him, because I think you will see Fabinho when he is fully back fit. Possibly if Trent is still injured, you'll probably see Fabinho possibly right back, or even centre back anyway, or probably see Henderson go right back or not. All of them can play wherever, but if Liverpool are continue to have these injuries, I think you will see a lot more young players getting an opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. And, I think now Liverpool can experiment quite a lot now in Europe, at least, because, we're 9 points out of 9, one more win and we're pretty much guaranteed next round of the knockout stages of the Champions League, at least. So, it's time to really much experiment. And the unfortunate thing, I think, really about it, and I think a lot of people would agree with this on that, is that Nat Phillips isn't registered for the UEFA Champions League, which is a real shame. in my opinion, because that would have been perfect for him to get, game time. But, we all thought that he would be going back out either on loan or he would be sold this season. So thankfully, in many ways, that, he wasn't actually put on sale for Liverpool.
You can change that, can't you, come January or after?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, because I think I remember last season we signed a couple of players and they obviously were lads. For Minamino, the main one. Minamino played against us.
Yeah, Minamino.
Yeah, he played against us and then we put him in the Champions League. So it will be interesting. Yeah, fingers crossed.
Because last season the rule changed that you could now play players that had played in the Champions League before, but it was like 3 Champions League players, I think it was.
We had that the absolutely beautiful Philippe Coutinho scoring against his former club. Imagine the scenes if you're a director of Barca and you've seen Coutinho just scored and pass you. Like, we're paying his wages and he just knocks out the Champions League.
to be fair, that game was beautiful. Watching them lose, that was beautiful as well. I think many people would agree with that as well. But Chris says beating a very good Atlanta side the way we did shocked me. I think it shocked a lot of people because of the manner that we did it. But it was, like you say, Diogo Jota has Jota be our best signing this season. I think many people would agree with you with that, to be fair, Chris. Even Nat Phillips held his own, getting man of the match in his first start. Very true. That is very true.
And someone here predicted the 10,000th goal scorer.
Oh, for God's sake, get in the bin. Yeah, Doug did get that correct. Of course, Jota did score Liverpool's 10,000th goal against Atalanta. Was it Atlanta or West Ham?
No, it was Midtjylland.
Yes, it was Midtjylland. Jesus Christ! I was like, didn't he? I was like, who knows?
He scored that many goals this season.
Yeah, he scored that many goals. We don't know anymore, the amount of that. But as well, before I forget, I think only Robbie Fowler has scored more goals while starting his Liverpool career, I think, than Diogo Jota. So, a Liverpool legend, maybe, Diogo Jota. But Chris says, has Seb Vandenberg got a future at Liverpool?
Yeah.
No, for me.
No, I don't. I think so. I think he might go out on loan in January, because there was talk that he could be going out on loan anyway. And I think there was talk that he was going to go out on loan before the win. All right, Jack.
I nearly fell off my chair.
Oh God!
See, I wasn't making a noise earlier, and nearly because he broke me back. I stopped myself.
That would
gosh! Oh, please!
That would have been a 1 million view clip. That would have been.
Sorry, lad. Yeah, carry on.
Good.
I've lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Oh, Vandenberg. Yeah. I believe that he was bound to go to somewhere in the window. I can't remember what it was, but a couple of Championship clubs actually inquired about him. So it remains to be seen whether he has a future or not. I think you'll see him move in January. For me, I'm going to do a quick swap. I'm going to go into my iPad because my phone's actually dying. So I will be with you guys in a few seconds.
Right, quick change over there, lad. There we go. Just to be smooth as possible.
Yeah, we're going to do a cleaners cut as well. For any podcast listeners, Doug's disappeared. But yeah, let me read a few comments out, and then we'll talk a little bit more then about it. Doug will be on the whiskey if Scotland wins tonight. I think we could agree with that. Matip should be the only Premier League. Matip should only play Premier League games for me. It could be. It could be. We could end up, him playing, Saturday and then wrapping him up in cotton wool, and then he can play next week. Then would you agree with that, Jack?
Yeah, as far as Ginny said, then it's mad because I think if you analyze how I think there was stats flying all around Twitter this week. I don't think Matip's played probably 8 games consistent in his career. He's so injury prone. And it frustrates me, and I think probably the main person it frustrates is himself, because we all know how good Joel Matip is. He's possibly on top form. He is definitely in the top 3 of best defenders in the Premier League, easy. I think behind obviously Eric Laporte at City, and obviously Virgil van Dijk. He's a country a mile above and beyond every Premier League player, mostly. We go smooth transition anyway. Doug is back for the podcast listeners anyway, if you're listening.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. My phone was at 1%, so I had to literally dash because once it gets to 1%, it usually dies very, very quickly. So
anyway, this podcast has gone from planned to disorganized.
It's where the magic happens anyway, lads.
That is true. That is very true. But Doug, would you agree? Keep Matip only 4 Premier League games?
Absolutely, yeah. I totally agree. I did hear that when I was going off there. I did hear something about Matip being kept for Premier League games. Yeah. Look, in my opinion, I think Reece Williams and possibly Fabinho might be the centre back partnership going forward in the Champions League. We have to give credit to Mr. Owen Thomas for actually suggesting Fabinho as the centre back. I think we've said this many times, but he was the one that said Fabinho was definitely a centre back. We didn't believe him, but yeah, he's been proven right. But for me, Reece Williams and Fabinho is the centre back partnership to actually go forward in the Champions League. I would definitely keep Matip for Premier League games, just to keep him in cotton wool as well.
To be fair, I think we didn't argue the fact that Owen, when he said Fabinho could be a centre back, I think he chose Fabinho over Gomez. I think, if I'm correct.
Okay.
And that was going to be second choice. But to be fair, Fabinho's class. You can play. If Alisson's injured, you can play in goal. Instead of Adrian. I know many people would like that as well. Of course. Chris says Doug has got that. Mate, we've had to make a plaque for him, so he's got. I predicted that Liverpool's 10,000 goal scorer. That's what we literally got. Ace is in saying, "All right, lad. Hopefully you're well, Ace. Hopefully you're having a fantastic day, mate." Chris says Owen has said to get chipping away. To be fair, we did say we would have to build Owen a statue for what he did say. Yeah, we did say that. And Simo says Fabinho used to play right back in his Monaco days. Yes, he did. He was their starting right back for a very long time.
Real Madrid as well.
Played there for Brazil. As well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's plenty of options there for Fabinho. He can play midfield, can play centre back and right back as well. But one question I want to quickly ask you guys as well. Of course, Liverpool versus Manchester City was the last game that Liverpool played, of course. And these 4 started, of course, Thiago Jota, Bobby Firmino, Sadio Mane and Mo Salah in a 4 up top. Now, I know a lot of people were questioning it on Twitter, and they were, very much saying that, Liverpool looked very good in the first 25 minutes of that game, even half an hour. But then, when City got back into the game, Liverpool looked very exposed at times with having 4 up front. I'll go to Jack with this first. Can Liverpool play with all 4 of them starting in the majority of games this season, or do you think, it is a bit too attacking to play all 4 at the same time?
I think there's one way if you're going to play 4 players, it's against City. I tell you, they can't defend for their lives half the time. But yeah, the way Leicester demolished them this season, one of the first fixtures of the season. If you get at City, similar like Liverpool, if teams get at Liverpool, or sometimes there are defensive frailties, especially with Liverpool not having any fit centre backs at the minute. But yeah, I expected them all 4 to play. I think in the pre-match show, mate. It just depends on. I think you can play the 4. It depends who you're holding midfield there, plus your creative midfield that are in that too. So obviously, if you got Thiago, I think we missed him massively against City because he just unlocks doors and he controls the tempo. I think Liverpool were very much missing that player really that just controls the game. As much as Henderson and Ginny, they're so good at the fitness levels, so they can cover wide left and wide right anyway. But Thiago was absolutely different gravy. He's a cut above the rest. And you could see how well De Bruyne was controlling the game against Liverpool. I think City, as you mentioned there, mate, 20, 30 minutes in, they were taking it back and they were like, oh, bloody hell, Liverpool are going for it. How many games have we had against City where we've started like an absolute house on fire? We've got about 2 or 3 goals. I think that's what Jürgen was wanting. 2, 3 quick fire goals, ready to settle Liverpool into the game and just sit behind the ball and then continue to counter attack, similar to like we did against Atalanta, really. But I think we will continue. I think at the minute it's just a matter of Firmino playing past this bad run of form, because we all know how good he is, and I think that will be an absolute nightmare for the majority of the Premier League if you've got all those forward up front. If you're an opposition defender and you're like, who am I defending here? Because all of them interchange with one another, and you have Bobby dropping. Bobby basically, everyone takes the mickey of him being a defensive striker, but he's so good at collecting the ball from deep, and especially if it is a tight game that a team's sitting behind the ball, you will be getting Bobby drifting in between the 2 lines in the midfield and the attacking runs. I tell you, that'll be absolute carnage. The more we play that formation, I think the better we will get. And if you put in, say, when Trent's back fully fit, Virgil and everything, we will see probably the best Liverpool performances come the back end of the season anyway. Because you have that attacking ability of obviously Trent going down the right-hand side. And was it Trent and Robbo did come out like after the game? They have been, I think Robbo said after the post-match, he said, it does kind of stifle them in terms of going forward, but any team that would have to go a bit more defensive if you lose your best centre-back and your 2 best centre-backs now, Liverpool are going to be a lot more defensive-minded. And I think we have to do that going into the next coming months anyway. We can't continue to keep on playing this attacking brand of football when we've got injuries all around the gaff, the back line.
Yeah. I think we have to be more like 18, 19 Liverpool in being, that extra yard back and then working from the back upwards, instead of maybe last season where, Trent and Robbo were told to, get up as much as possible and then see what happens. Because I think Robbo did say it, in that game in particular, we were told, we can't go bombing up forward, because we will leave space behind, and it'll be too much space to, City to, expose us then realistically. And, as we've seen, when that little bit of space was created, when, of course, Mane pressured up and then Gini then had to cover then for Mane, of course, then they conceded, even though, it was a fantastic goal. And I've seen many people, compare it to Dennis Bergkamp, that goal against Newcastle, with Gabriel Jesus. I think a little bit of it was, he mistimed it and then was very good in recovering, but it was still a very good goal. And look, it's Manchester City. Attackingly, they are fantastic. Defensively, they are woeful.
Yeah, but, they paid about, how much did you pay for them? 100 million or so?
But Doug,
Who are you talking about there?
Gabriel Jesus.
Oh, Jesus! Aye.
Jesus.
Yeah, he should have. Yeah, he should have scored. He should have scored that second one there.
But the man can walk on water as well. So.
but Doug, I'll ask you this then. Do you think that front 4 should start? Maybe against Leicester. Do you think that maybe we could start with the front 4, or do you think because Thiago, of course, is back, against Leicester. Fingers crossed nothing happens now between now and, then. But do you think that all 4 of them could start against Leicester and maybe make that impact? Or do you think one of them will be kept, on the bench to make that impact, later on in the game?
It's a good question. I mean, I think it worked for a wee bit. It's quite evident that, Klopp took Firmino off first, instead of Jota. So, maybe might rest Firmino. Maybe put Bobby on the bench. Maybe, but I don't know. Is the honest answer. I think it'd be good if they could all start. The other thing is, who would you play a holding? For me, I would play probably Henderson and Thiago if they are both fit and available. Fingers crossed, Henderson is not playing for England. I think he's not playing tonight, thankfully. But what I can take out of this first 8 games of the season, we've been to Chelsea, we've been to Everton, we've been to Manchester City, we've played Arsenal. We have not lost one of those games. So that kind of says it all, that we've still got City, we've still got Chelsea, still got Manchester United, we've got to go to the Emirates, we've still got Spurs, to come as well. I think if you had asked every Liverpool fan at the start of the season, would you have taken a win against Chelsea and then 2 draws against Everton and Manchester City and a win against Arsenal? I think you would have took it.
Yeah, I would agree. I think many people would have taken that, especially knowing the injuries as well. In adding to that as well, I think many people would have absolutely 100% have taken that, if I'm being perfectly honest. But Chris says, I prefer 4-3-3 as that's where our success comes from. He also says, I would start Jota instead of Firmino for 3 or 4 games. I think many people would say that as well. And I know a lot of people on Twitter were saying that they would prefer Jota to start over Bobby Firmino. He says, I like Klopp going bold and starting 4 of them against City. It meant he wasn't scared to go for it. Yeah, absolutely, I would agree with that as well. But so yeah, that's pretty much then. We've talked about basically all of the games so far this season. And guys, if you've got any questions as well, like I did say, please feel free to ask away in the comment section down below. But I believe I think it might have been Chris, or it might be someone else as well, asked for player of the season so far and young player of the season so far. So I'll go back to Doug. Who has been your player so far for Liverpool this season?
It's got to be Salah, isn't it? It's got to be Salah. 8 goals in 8 games, getting 100 in 151 appearances or something like that. The boy just uses class. Close would be Jota as well. I suppose you could put Jota in the young player. See, that's
we're not the PFA. We're not the PFA. We don't do under 23s.
I'd say Salah for player of the year, and then I'd say probably Jota for young player of the year.
We're not PFA. Like, what don't you get? No, I'm kidding. Like, you can play that because it is, isn't it? Like, they do put, like, for Jesus Christ, Raheem Sterling's been in Young Player of the Year since 2015.
Since Liverpool started from QPR probably.
Jack,
didn't they have like Martial and Grealish in the young players as
Yeah.
well? And they're like 24, 25. All right, okay, I'll see Reece Williams.
Harry Kane was in there last year or the year before. Like, it's so stupid.
It's just so they can get the golden boys in there.
It's stupid. But Jack, same question to you. Who's been your player of the season so far for Liverpool? And young player as well.
Jota. Only because I don't think any of us expected him to hit the ground as running like he has. I think everyone expected him to be a big player, obviously to come off the bench, but I don't think anyone really could have expected. It was the same case with Salah and Mane when they got brought in. Everyone's like, "Oh yeah, sounds," and then you've just become these monsters of players and some of the best attackers in world football. So I think Jota is going to be on that exact same conveyor belt of world-class players that Jurgen Klopp has built into one of Europe's elite in European game. And I tell you, as Jorgen and Connor have said, and everyone, when you do watch Portugal, he's learning from a lot of world-class players when he does go. So as much as when sometimes you're like, oh, players going away on international duty, Jota is learning from the likes of Ronaldo and Bernardo Silva. As much as we don't like him, he's a good player technically, and that Portuguese squad is fantastic. Yeah. Far from that, but in terms of footballing ability, but yeah, Jota, mate. As much as Salah, he's been fantastic, but I think Jota, for me personally, I didn't expect him to have such an impact on the way in which he plays in this Liverpool team. The amount of amazing runs, he's always in the right place at the right time. I didn't watch a lot of Wolves last season, but this I don't think anyone could have anticipated how good he's played for Liverpool.
Yeah. I would absolutely agree. I think he's been well up there. Young player of the year, would it be Reece Williams as well?
Yeah, to play your first game in Europe at such a young age when Van Dijk's been injured, I tell you, that takes some bottle to really come into and really hold his own against the likes of Ajax and Midtjylland and that. This kid has got a lot of confidence and he's got a lot of ability, and that's highlighted by how well he's played. But yeah, definitely miss.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I can't argue with that. I think Reece Williams absolutely deserves Young Player of the season so far. I think he's been absolutely immense, and like I did say, I think he is now the starting centre half now in the Champions League. Player of the there's so many people that has been fantastic already this season. Mo is the obvious one, and I think Mo overall has been fantastic. Like Doug said, 8 goals already. I think he's got the most goals from anyone that has started in a season. I think he's been immense. I think going back to our 44 goal season, he looks like that Mo Salah again. But for me as well, I think one player that for me anyway personally deserves a show is Andy Robertson. I think even against Aston Villa, I think he's been fantastic. Jack nearly falling off his chair again.
If we didn't have him, then it would have been about 12-0.
Yeah, and the game against Arsenal, the game against Chelsea, absolutely immense. I'd love to give it to Thiago because every time I mention Thiago, I think smiles everywhere when we mention Thiago. But unfortunately, injuries haven't been the best.
Curtis Jones, I suppose you could say, since he the Lincoln game aside, he's been solid.
I say the Ajax game as well. He got outran a bit in that, which wasn't his fault really because it was his first game of the season. But maybe he is up there. His performance against Atlanta. For me, I thought he was pretty good as well. But I'm gonna give it to Mo and Reece Williams anyway. But before we do head off then for tonight.
Oh no!
Of course. Oh no! Is it 1-1?
Oh no!
Oh no!
Hopefully, Luka Jovic. I was going to say before, Doug.
Oh, no.
90th minute as well.
Oh, no. As Chris says, oh, my God. Oh, no. Andy Robertson header, like Liverpool, Aston Villa.
Do they have VAR in these competitions? Hopefully it rules it out.
I think they do.
Don't they?
No.
Good for them. VAR's terrible. But before we do head off anyway then for tonight, of course, we did mention we will talk a little bit about January. Of course, January is right around the corner. Of course, in this mad season, that did start late in that. So, we are, Jack, do you want to go off screen? I just see in the top right corner, I can just see Jack with a fork. Going down, but to be fair, we will end in a minute. But I'll ask Jack this first. If you could sign one player, for Liverpool to sign in January, who would it be and why?
It's an hard one, that you're picking. Koulibaly, just to save us.
Okay.
I don't know. Just as long as he's not injured, just sign him, put him in there. Any centre back, I think I'll even us playing centre back. I think we'd sign them, but any centre back. I've seen a couple of Jan match shouts, and my head fell off when I was reading the comments today on Twitter. I was like, "Are you mad?" Because they went down with was he at Watford when they went down as well?
Yeah.
Doug, you'd surely have Koulibaly over Janmat, wouldn't you?
Yeah, of course.
You're shaking your head at both.
Yeah,
it's because he hates Koulibaly.
He's so good. Koulibaly.
Janmat is one of the most average defenders I think I've ever seen. And yet we've got Gini Wijnaldum like requesting the Liverpool hierarchy to sign him.
You never know. There's one manager in the whole world that I tell you, the Klopp would turn Matt into the new Ronald Koeman, probably. He'd probably be banging in free kicks and everything as well. You wouldn't put it past Klopp anyway.
Well, to be fair, whoever Klopp signs, that is an instant, vote of confidence, but it isn't really confidence because of the name. But still, it is that. But Doug, why wouldn't you go Koulibaly if he's available?
Koulibaly, too old.
I just love how simple that was. He's too old.
No, honestly, the Koulibaly to Liverpool rumours have been there probably
2 years.
2 years, and nothing's gonna happen. He seems settled at Napoli as well. I mean, a short-term option, and I don't know. I suppose if I've said Koulibaly's too old, this guy's way too old. Is a Garay? Maybe.
Oh no! Can we kick him, Connor?
Oh, Jesus Christ! Get gone.
It's just Koulibaly's far too old. The man's about 36.
That's just sign. That's sign Garay, and then Koulibaly. I get what you mean for now. I get what you mean right here, right now. But we're talking about January, man. We're not going to sign Koulibaly. He's too old. Oh yeah, that's sign Garay. That's 36.
34, 36, whatever. Yeah.
Upper Meccano would be my one for sure.
Yeah. I think with age, Gary McAllister, when Liverpool signed him, he was quite old, wasn't he? And then won a couple of trophies, Gary Mac. And he did come in, and I think Koulibaly. I know everyone loves a good story about Koulibaly. Possibly sign Lovren back. Won't put it past them anyway.
We should try and do it.
Yeah, but I think Koulibaly, if he's available, but I don't think he will be because Napoli are an absolute nightmare to deal with. But I think what big clubs used to do, it depends how much transfer budget Liverpool have got. And we don't know what's happening behind closed doors. If anyone says that they do, then they're absolutely talking nonsense anyway. But it will be interesting to see if Liverpool, Klopp surely has to go into the market for the centre back.
It's a must, isn't it? Look, if Klopp now, say we're right at the end of January, and Klopp went, we're not going to go and sign a centre half. We would all be like. I think even though all of us are very much Klopp lovers, I think we'd all be hating Klopp. What are you doing? Quite clearly we need centre backs, but it is also that as well. Financially, we don't know really where Liverpool are because, of course, throughout the summer we were wondering whether or not if we were actually going to sign players because at one stage it looked like we weren't. And then we end up doing Thiago and Diogo Jota, in 2 days. And that was. Quick fire, and it might be the same. Look, at the end of the day, for me, it would be Upper Meccano. I think he is the guy to go and sign because of age, has ton of potential, and especially working under Jurgen Klopp as well, could become the next Virgil van Dijk in that that developmental stage. And apparently, next year, he'll have a £40 million release clause, and then the real question is then, how much higher from that. Leipzig realistically going to sell, could be 50, could be 60. So unless the price is correct for Liverpool, then it won't happen. Plain and simple, it won't happen.
Upamecano, he's another player that's got knee injury issues as well.
Yeah, that is true.
He missed 110 days, so he missed 18 games in the 18-19 season. I know that was probably 2 years ago anyway, and then he had another recurring knee injury. And then, but torn muscle fibre, that was 7 days ago.
I heard that Willy Bolly has been a name mentioned. Would you guys take Willy Bolly? He's apparently out of contract at the end of the season.
No.
This is not my argument. This is not.
Am I removing? Why have I moved?
Oh
This podcast has turned into a laugh, a right laugh.
I think my dad might be playing centre back at this minute. He's done his ACL in as well, so that word get me dad.
Oh no! But I have seen the Willy Bolly rumors, but for me, it isn't going to happen. If it's going to be someone, it's going to be Connor Cody from Wolves.
Yeah, Willy Bolly's a very good player. Anyway, I think he's shown
English.
That. Yeah. Is he English?
He's French.
Is he French? I thought he was French.
No, you were about.
Oh, Connor Cody.
I don't know what's happening with this podcast, guys. Sorry, I do apologize.
On the whiskey.
It's the whiskey. It's the whiskey. That's what's happened. Doug has literally drank too much whiskey. But yeah,
water.
For some reason, I read that as Wilfred Bonny. For some reason, it's Willy Bolly.
Where's he playing in like the 7th tier of English football?
But Willy Bolly is the hand of God. Don't forget handball versus Man City 1890. Look, he may have done good things for us, but the true answer, and the one person that's got this correct and nailed on, is Ace, and he has said sign Jamie Carragher back. Absolutely. get Carragher on that lifetime contract as well. But yeah, look, I think we'll end it there for tonight, because I think Doug has drunk too much whiskey, and I think Jack's had too much pasta as well. So.
Nah, it's been good. That was a good way to end the show. Anyway,
but yeah, look. At the end of the day, thank you to everyone that has tuned in to the review so far of Liverpool's season. Of course, we've spoken a little bit about each and every single game. We've spoken about players as well, in particularly Mo Salah getting our players of the season so far. Even though things could change from now until May, we might do another review in May. Probably will do. Hopefully, Liverpool will be champions. Then I think we could say it at least anyway. But yeah, Jack, thank you, mate, for coming on. Where can we find you on the socials, mate?
Just Jack Mac LFC, mate. Thank you for having me on, mate. It's been a pleasure. Made up to speak to Doug as well, and you. And just fingers crossed Liverpool don't get any more injuries. Otherwise, we'll be getting G'day, Wilfred Bolly, and the boys on the back.
The whiskey maker.
And possibly Koulibaly back as well, but yeah, ideally we get Koulibaly, but yeah, I'm fingers crossed, Doug, and any other Scottish fans watching, and hopefully he's do qualify tonight, just for the sake of Doug as well, and for Andy Robbo. So come on, Scotland.
Yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed. An absolute pleasure having you on as well, mate. Please go and check out Jack in the description down below. All the socials are there, including YouTube, of course. And Doug, thank you for coming on, mate. Where can we find you as well on the socials?
Well, can I just say I've really enjoyed this. So thank you very much for having me. It's been a very, very good podcast. I think the three of us work really well as a trio as well. But you can find me on YouTube at the Doug.
So have you seen the comments? Sorry, Doug. Doug said it ain't me. He said it ain't me after the video.
That's gonna be the comment. That's literally gonna be the comment on my fucking YouTube channel, I swear. I'm not gonna repeat it for podcast listeners, but still. God damn.
Right.
Where can we find you, Doug?
Strafus, yeah. Thank you very much for having me, Connor. That was a great podcast. But I think the three of us. I've got tears in my eyes now. Oh, dear.
I'm crying.
Right. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much for having me, Connor. The three of us work as
We're never going to end this show.
Jamie Carragher and Neville were just pissing themselves on Sky, weren't they?
Screw it, it's a thing.
Yeah, right. And then turned round. Doug, you do
Let's remove Jack a minute because I think he's lost. Go on, Doug.
Thank you very much for having me, Connor. I think the three of us work as a trio really, really well. You can find me on YouTube at the Dugout Football channel. Check out my Joe Gomez video yesterday. It's at 1.8k views now, which is really, really fantastic as well. Jack's back. You can find me on Twitter at enrod_1992. You can also find me at Instagram at Douglas.Horn, and you can find me on Facebook Douglas James Horn. And you're only 5 away now from 400. Fingers crossed we'll get you to 400 before the night's out.
It's like I said, it's never going to happen. But I think after Peter's comment, as that, and then I think Chris has said, Peter's is the best subscriber ever. I think he's gotta be. After that. And if you guys, if you're watching, if you listen to this on if you listen to it on any podcast system, then please come and check out the video. Come and check out the last 10 minutes because I think all of us are crying our eyes out as well. And please, if anyone can clip the last 10 minutes of this or like the last little bit of this, then please do and send it to me on Twitter and we will repost it and everything like this as well because it's been absolutely hilarious as well. But guys, thank you both for coming on to the podcast tonight. If you guys did like the podcast, let me remove Doug because I think Doug's lost it. If you did like it anyway, I'm planning to bring back the podcast every Thursday now, or every other Thursday. So hopefully you guys did enjoy it anyway. If you could, please leave a like, please share and subscribe if you're new to the Cop Council and enable notifications. But until next time, guys, that's going to be it from us. I've been Connor from the Cop Council.
See you later.
And we'll see you all